Welcome in, Chiefs Kingdom, to Cheifs Latest, your one-stop spot for everything Kansas City Chiefs in 15 minutes or less. It is your host, Calvin Silvers. Happy Tuesday. We saw a lot go down Monday in the NFL, including Jalen Ramsey. That's right. I talked about how the Chiefs had a possibility of getting him to Kansas City. As we can see, that is not going to happen as he is going to Pittsburgh. But that doesn't mean that there aren't people out there that the Chiefs are still eyeing. We're going to get to that in a second. But before we do, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications because here at Cheifs Latest, we have videos daily. That's right, daily, Monday through Friday. You're not going to want to miss any of the action. So hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications as it not only helps me in the channel, but it's going to help you stay up to date with everything Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the first question here that I have to pose, because there are still people that the Chiefs are eyeing to trade or even in free agency, but should the Chiefs trade for Kayvon Thibodeaux? That is the question I am posing, and I think trading for him, I think that is going to supercharge this Chiefs pass rush, and I think you have to address, which I spoke on Monday, but you have to address Felix and Uzama's bust status. It's not looking good right now. But going back to Thibodeaux's 21 career sacks, 72 PFF pass rush grade in 2024 shows that he still and is a legit threat, especially for the Chiefs. Now, a one-year rental, $9.97 million. That fits the Chiefs cap space at about $12 million. But then we look at that fifth-year option, and it becomes $14.75. That's kind of steep in 2026. So he only posted 5.5 sacks. And he had that wrist injury. So I think, too, that raises some concerns, and that raises some red flags about what he will look like this season coming up and if there will be any consistency issues. But I think he is definitely worth a mid-round pick as long as Beach avoids overpaying because, one, you have your rookies like Gelati that could step up, and two, because of that consistency and injury worry. But this matters because you need some depth for your pass rush. The Chiefs, 41 sacks in 2024. That ranked about middle of the NFL. And once again, Uzama struggles. It really highlights the need for a proven edge rusher, especially in the AFC. As I keep mentioning, it's becoming a arms race, especially in the West. Herbert, Smith, Bo Nix as quarterbacks. You need a strong pass rush. It's needed. It's critical to disrupt these passing games that we're going to see in high-level passing games we're about to see here in the AFC West. But Thibodeaux's speed, his 4-3 DN experience, that only aligns with what Spag has and Spag's aggressive fronts. So if he could get back to that 2023 form, this is going to look really, really dangerous. Now, mentioned 5.5 sacks in 12 games with the Giants, down from 11.5. That's right, he had 11.5 in 2023. Last season, though, 12.6% pressure rate. That was a career best. In his career, though, 21 sacks, 17 tackles. Again, you got to work around that $12 million cap space because he has that $9.97 million, but that fifth-year option bumps it up to $14.75. But pairs well with Karlaftis and Dana. Again, probably a third or fourth round pick. You got to balance that value with the Giants' depth at edge with Burns and Carter. But yeah, that wrist injury, 27.6 missed tackle rate. I can see how that raises questions. I can see how people would be a little worrisome. So, and he did have often failed, to finish plays in crucial moments as well. So, especially against the run. But again, get that pass rush. It only improves field position for Mahomes, something that the Chiefs will always love. So, yeah, I think he's a smart trade target. I think it could help fix some of the Chiefs' pass rush woes. And his $9.97 million cap hit works for 2025, but then that option in 2026 is a gamble. So, Beach cannot overpay on this one. Let's just keep it going with the trading. It's fun. Does Harrison Phillips make the D-line scary? Now, trading for Harrison Phillips, yes, that could solidify the run defense. I agree with you there. It's going to fill a gap left by Tershawn Wharton's departure. 56 regular season tackles, 54 PFF run defense grade in 2024. That makes him, a reliable nose tackle for Spags, about average. $9.5 million cap hit in 2025. That strains the Chiefs $12 million, leaving little flexibility for someone that I don't think is going to give you all that much. Also, he's 29. So this is really a short-term stability option. not a long-term solution compared to rookies, again, that you're bringing in like Norman Lott. Fifth-round pick, you could say is fair, but I think that Beach should prioritize the youth unless this run defense just absolutely looks terrible in camp, can't get it figured out. Then I can see why you would, bring in someone like Phillips. But yes, your run defense could use some help. Allowed 4.5 yards per carry in 2024, ranking 20th. So yeah, they need to get back to a stout interior. I'm not disagreeing with that. And the Vikings trade window with Minnesota's depth on the defensive line, that makes them a likely target to get something worthwhile in return. Phillips' nose tackle role, like I said, fits Spags' 4-3 fronts. It's going to clog the lane for the linebackers. But again, that cap constraint, high cost trade. If you're going to do something like this, that is going to be somewhat of a high cost trade, especially if it's $9 million, you have 12. It has to deliver immediate impact. Can Phillips do that over Thibodeaux? 56 tackles, 1 tackle for loss with the Vikings, 54 rush defense, 60 pass rush in the PFF grades. His career, 8 sacks, 314 tackles. Yes, reliable, but nothing super impressive. $9.68 million final year of contract. But you could pair him with Chris Jones and Mike, and yeah, that might strengthen your run defense. But having youth compete for that snap as he's hitting 29 years old, it limits his long-term value. And so if you're bringing in these rookies, if you're going to take a risk on these rookies, let him try to shine like Norman Law. Let him shine. But yes, this could be a decent trade option to shore up the Chiefs front. But again, not really impressive in my eyes. I would rather, if we're going to add an addition here from these two, I'd rather go Thibodeaux out of Phillips. But that's just, what I have to think. But let's talk about something that needs to be done and someone that is on the team currently, Trey Smith. What would, a Trey Smith deal look like? Again, extending Trey Smith, it's a must. You have to lock up a top-tier guard. But his $23.4 million franchise tag sets a high bar, a very high bar, a 5-year, $106 million deal, $21.2 million average per year, $64 million guaranteed. That could be the deal that he gets. That would reset the guard market. That's going to top Chris Lindstrom. That's going to top Landon Dickerson. But look at what he's done. Over 96% snap counts the previous 2 seasons, durability with over 60 starts. That justifies a big contract. But yet Beach, and he's smart, he can do it, but he has to backload the deal to manage the cap space and avoid losing him. And a long-term deal only lowers, his $23.4 million tag hit. So that could free up some cap for extensions like Karlaftis or McDuffie. Smith, Humphrey, the retooled tackle spots, you're really getting to the point where you're going to be able to protect Mahomes, get Mahomes hopefully back to an MVP caliber quarterback. But again, this deal would top Dickerson's $21 million, average per year. It's going to set a new guard standard, and the Chiefs, you have to do it. Your offensive line, the 2 times you've lost the Super Bowl, were the problem. And you're going against a, tough AFC West pass rushers, including someone like Crosby, who was talking about Mahomes and saying how I want to kill him every play. You have to keep Mahomes clean in these situations. 78.8 overall, ranked top 15 among guards in PFF grading. So he's a top 15 guard in the league. Like I said, 96% of offensive snaps the past 2 seasons. And he's seen it on special teams, snaps on special teams as well. So he's very versatile. You can use him in a lot of positions. 66 regular season starts, plus your playoff starts and experience there. When you look at his performance bonus as well, $865,000. That was in 2023. That was 7th highest in the NFL. Overall, the Chiefs allowed 44 sacks, ranked about middle in the NFL. You just need a long-term deal. You have to keep Smith. You have to keep him, with Humphrey, who's the best center in the league. You have to anchor the interior for Mahomes, especially with play action in the run and the RPO game. And also, there will be people that will try to get him. Teams like the Bears. They could poach Smith if no deal is reached by 2026. So his durability, his PFF grade, what he's done, his reliability, it's worth extending him. You have to extend him. The line has been your problem in the 2 Super Bowls. You can't have anything happen to Patrick Mahomes. And yes, you could say, well, this would be a steep price for a guard. Well, the market's only going to get larger and larger and larger. So you got to get him when you can now at a cheaper option, because we see some teams that wait too long for players. And then by that time that they want to come around and get them, it's too late. They cost way more than what you could have just set the market at. Has to get done by the middle of July. Let's get him signed. And let's get him ready for training camp. And another person that is on the team, Carson Steele. What can the Chiefs do with him in 2025? That is the question. Well, his versatility makes him valuable. It does. There is some value to him, especially a depth piece. But again, his 3.3 yards per carry, that does limit him to more of a special teams and short yardage role, more than like a full-time third running back option. He does have 138 kick return yards. Fullback skills are pretty well. His assets there that he brings are pretty good. And then you have Hunt and Pacheco leading the backfield. So the fact that he can do special teams and that short yardage is huge. And it's also up for grabs right now. It's kind of shaky. You have Brashard Smith, your rookie you're bringing in. You have Elijah Mitchell, who you added. So he has to shine in camp to avoid, the practice squad or even just getting let go. But Reed is smart, and he could use him as a Swiss Army knife, fullback, returner, goal line back. He's a 225-pound guy. There's multiple ways to use his frame. Why does this matter? Well, his returns, his physicality that add depth there at the special teams position. And it's just critical to always have a guy like that when you're chasing, a Super Bowl, when players start to drop like flies towards the end of the season. It's always just good to have someone a little more healthy that could carry the rock. And like I said, Reed is creative. With Steele, even as a fullback, Reed knows that he has a multiple role ability, throw in some innovative schemes, especially in short yardage plays, and he can do it as long as he doesn't fumble the ball, which was a problem for Steele. And his physical running, his power running, that's going to wear down defenses like the Chargers, like the Broncos. And it's only going to complement Mahomes' passing if he's wearing down these defenses. But nothing that crazy his rookie year, 183 yards, 56 carries, 3.3 yards per carries, 14 first downs. I believe he had 5 kick returns, 138 yards, and 199 offensive snap counts. So, again, don't really see him be much in the backfield, even though that the Chiefs rank 17th. Of course, we know Pacheco got hurt, but Pacheco, if he stays healthy, Hunt had a decent season. You add Mitchell, you add Brashard Smith. I don't really see him being, an RB3, but I still think he can be valuable with returning or just, goal line or short distant running. And that was Tuesday's episode, Chiefs Latest. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already and turn on those notifications. Because like I said, we have videos daily. That's right, Monday through Friday. You're not going to want to miss any of the action. And before we go ahead and go down in the comments and let me know what you think about maybe adding either Thibodeaux or Phillips. What do you think about adding those two? What do you think, a long-term deal for Smith could look like? And do you think Carson Steele still has a spot on this team? Again, I'm your host, Calvin Silvers. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications, videos daily, Monday through Friday. And until next time, have a good one.